You wake up to sunlight like a spotlight, silk on your skin, marble underfoot. You think it's a dream. Your phone is a stranger. Notifications flood in, missed calls, messages that read like bulletins. Where are you? Are you alive? You walk the halls, pictures of landscapes you don't recognize. A portrait of the house itself hangs like a monarch. You press your palm to the glass. The reflection is you, stunned and small. You laugh to test it. The laugh sounds like someone else's money. A bell downstairs, soft, precise. A lawyer is waiting with a briefcase that smells like certainty. He sits. You sit across. No small talk. He reads, "Certificate of title." Your name, full legal name. You ask if he's joking. He closes the briefcase. "No joke," he says. "You are the owner." You point at the portrait. "Mine?" "Yes." Silence fills the ballroom in the center of the house. Your heartbeat is loud enough to be heard upstairs. You think, "Wake up." You press your eyes. The world keeps being real. You begin to understand how thin the line is between fantasy and legal paperwork. You reach for the phone like a lifeline. Lawyers swarm in like a slow storm. One explains trusts. Another cites tax law in a tone that wants to be gentle but isn't. There are signatures to be notarized. Paperwork that ties you to a mansion, to land, to debts you never imagined, and to privileges you did. You sign because you don't know what else to do. Every stroke of the pen feels like stepping into someone else's shadow. A paralegal asks if you'll accept the fiduciary responsibilities. You blink. Responsibility? For what? He slides a folder across, history stamped in ink, previous owner, redacted, an endowment, a will that mentions philanthropy, secrecy, and the phrase keeper of doors. You start to feel smaller, but also electrified. The lawyer's phone buzzes. "Camera crews," he says. "They found out." Within hours, cameras are outside like a second weather system. Reporters in blazers, drones humming like insects in the sky. You step onto the terrace. Flashes strobe on you like paparazzi lightning. The world sees you. You in pajama pants are the new headline. New owner of America's most expensive home revealed. You haven't had breakfast. You haven't decided how to tie your shoes. Executives call with voices rehearsed for stakes. "We'll pay twice. We'll offer whatever it takes." Billionaires sound like auctioneers. They send private jets and men in coats. They want the house the way collectors want rarity. The possession, the story, the power. You get emails that read like threats wrapped in courtesy. Consider selling before the media cycle destroys the asset. You read another, or partner with us. You imagine walking away. You imagine boardrooms smelling of leather and dominance. But the house keeps collecting you like a tide. A screen in the study broadcasts live. Your own face looks like a coin minted this morning. You try to remember your mother's advice. You try to anchor yourself to a decision. Billionaires arrive with blueprints and charm. They want rooms cataloged, assets appraised, secrets priced. "We'll make you a deal you can't refuse," one says without irony. You laugh because your chest feels too full. They offer foundations, museums, islands. They offer silence, legal, airtight silence. A magnate asks to tour alone. You watch them move through the house like men reading a map only they understand. They ask about the basement. You shake your head. The house was meant to be shown room by room, but there are areas not on the public tours. A maintenance key appears in a velvet box. Something about the key's weight makes you alert. You hold it like an oath. The billionaires watch. They calculate. They never ask if you want to sell what can't be priced. You find the hidden rooms by accident. A misaligned book, a draft, a scent of old wood. A panel slides open without sound. It's like stepping into a different gravity. Rooms folded into rooms. Drawers that hold envelopes tied with string. A ledger cataloging names, dates, and decisions that changed industries. Blueprints for invisible systems. An old diary with pages of handwriting so spidery, it hurts to read. Keeper of doors, the phrase repeats. You find a sealed vault. The vault opens to a chamber that feels wrong to your bones, not empty, but waiting. A chair sits in the center. On it, a simple envelope. You open it. Inside, a single sentence. You inherit not a house, but a responsibility. Below, a key phrase. Choose well, or choose otherwise. You realize the house has been more than stone and silver. It was a repository of influence. Decisions made here altered elections, saved companies, destroyed reputations. The room hums with their ghosts. You find recordings, conversations between men whose names bend the globe. You hear your name mentioned as if you were a placeholder. You are the cursor, waiting to be placed. They want to buy silence. They want to buy control. They bring lawyers in succession. They offer foundations in your name. They promise to protect you from the press and yourselves too. You sit in the chair from the vault and feel the weight of choice. Every owner before you used this chair the moment they couldn't bear the noise. You read more. A ledger of exits. How owners disappeared from headlines. Some left riches and ready-made anonymity. Some used the house to rewrite history. And some never had to make a choice at all. You imagine their faces. There's a window with a view of the estate's far edge. Beyond, a gate that no one crosses. In the ledger, a line. The gate closes once the keeper decides. Your phone vibrates. A message. Meet us at the gates. Final offer. You stand. You walk to the gate. Outside, men in tailored coats wait like a verdict. You understand the bargain is not money. It is the right to decide what the house is used for. To open doors. To close them. To wield a silence that can topple or build. You could sell and disappear into quiet wealth. You could hand the keys to a foundation and let the house become a museum, a monument to taste. You could keep it and become the steward of secrets. The ledger's lines seem to watch you. You think of the diary's final entry from a previous owner. Power is a tool, a neutral thing that becomes cruel if wielded without care. The twist. You slide the final envelope under the lamp. Inside is a deed, but the name written is not just yours. It reads, "To the person who will decide, and to the people who never had to decide." A legal clause, plain but seismic. The title grants ownership only while the owner acts in the public interest. You read it again. The house is a lever. You own it only while you use it to fix what the world broke. Sell it for greed and the title dissolves. The house reassigns itself by law, by mechanism, by design. You are stunned. This was never about possession. It was about responsibility made irresistible. A small voice on a recording plays. "You wanted luxury," it says. "We wanted selection." You realize the mansion is a test, a machine of power that chooses guardians by tempting them. If you act for private gain, the house will find a new keeper. If you act for the public, it remains yours. You imagine every billionaire with pockets full of offers being forced to choose between charity and conquest. You picture parents, workers, voters, ordinary people, watching you decide on live television. You feel their eyes. The house becomes a mirror, the real estate of destiny, the imagined. Step. You hold the key, heavy with consequence. Outside, the press leans forward. Inside, the house listens. You step to the podium. You smile in the practiced way of people about to change everything. You say simply, "This house will be used to build what we broke." Maybe you mean it. Maybe you don't. Either way, the cameras keep rolling. And for a breath, a second that stretches like polished glass, you imagine yourself owning more than a home. You imagine all the choices you could make with that kind of leverage. You imagine the dinners, the decisions, the secrets, the power. Then, quietly, you imagine the other possibility, that owning the most expensive house in America isn't the end of a story. It's the beginning of a test that asks, who would you become if wealth demanded you care? The gates close behind you. The cameras click. You turn the key. The house waits for your answer.